If you have been reading Classroom Daily for a while now, or you're up to date with the series and you're currently in second year of Classroom Daily, you will know that to this day, there's still a character that still has a lot of mystery and has not been fully explained, and this is Professor Ayanokoji, aka Ayanokoji's father. Now, Ayanokoji's father has been hinted for a few times even before Volume 7. I think even in the earlier volumes of this series, he was briefly mentioned, and of course, if you have seen how Ayanokoji reacts when people talk about his father, you can tell that he's not a huge fan of him, and it's very clear that the relationship isn't great. But because this is like earlier in the series, we still didn't know why Ayanokoji did not like his father or what made this character so terrifying, and we wouldn't find out until Volume 7, which is the rooftop arc. In this volume, despite being the introduction to Professor Ayanokoji, just from this introduction alone, we got to see what made this person terrifying, and you can understand why a lot of people are terrified of this individual. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about first as to who is Professor Ayanokoji, why is he feared so much, and really what's more to come with him, because it's very clear that he's still going to be part of the story, but as of right now, currently in second year, he has yet to make another appearance like he did in Volume 7 of first year. So who is Professor Ayanokoji? Well, based on the last name, it's very obvious that this is Ayanokoji's father. He is the founder and of course the person who controls the White Room, the same place Ayanokoji's been ever since childhood. But you may be wondering, why did he create the White Room? What was the White Room for? Well, later on we would find out more about Professor Ayanokoji's past, in which we find out that he wasn't anything special in the past. He wasn't that intelligent and he wasn't that athletic as well. He didn't graduate from a good university or nothing like that. In fact, it was also stated there was nothing really special with his wife as well, or his relatives, or even people around him close to him. There wasn't anything special about them according to him. He didn't see anything that they were gifted with, whether it was academically or physically. And as a result, this got him thinking if there was a way to create this superhuman being, a human being that not only excels academically but also physically, a person who is good at everything no matter what, who would never lose to anyone and would never make a mistake. That was the question that Professor Ayanokoji was always wondering, if a human being like that could actually exist in the real world. And of course, this led to him creating the White Room, in which in this White Room he would gather a lot of young kids and would give them, according to him, the ultimate education. Now of course, that being said, that didn't mean that he would teach them about everything. For example, he didn't teach them how society actually functions. You see, he made sure that the kids in this White Room were isolated from the real world. That's why a lot of them, and it's very obvious if you have seen the series or you have read it, a lot of the things that are considered normal or just typical everyday things for people who have been in society for a really long time, for Ayanokoji, they're completely new things. He's never experienced these kind of things. Some of these examples could be when Ayanokoji was really surprised of how ice cream tasted because he's never had ice cream before in Volume 4.5, and in Volume 7.5, Ayanokoji was fascinated and amazed at just how much snow was falling, because he's never experienced snow before, because once again he's been isolated in the White Room, so he doesn't know how society or how the outside world actually functions. And while eventually he would create the superhuman being, that being his own son Kiyotaka Ayanokoji, it was very clear that Ayanokoji took an interest as to how the outside world functions, and with that, as a result, Ayanokoji managed to escape the White Room and see for himself what was the outside world, and thus that's how he ended up going to the advanced nurturing high school. Now, we didn't really know how he managed to escape, but we would eventually find out in Volume 7, in which during the whole interaction between him and his father, in which it was a very tense situation, and you could tell that everything about that atmosphere was just really intense. It's discovered that the butler that took care of Ayanokoji was the one that helped him escape by telling him about the advanced nurturing high school and telling Ayanokoji that if he applied to that school, he was going to be safe from his father and did not have to go to the White Room any longer. Of course, when his father found this out, Professor Ayanokoji was not happy and decided to get back at this butler for helping Ayanokoji escape, which leads us to what makes Professor Ayanokoji so terrifying. Even before this whole interaction between just Ayanokoji and Professor Ayanokoji, Ayanokoji was very quick to notice that the people in the room were terrified of just being next to his father, something that the anime didn't really capture well. You see, while I did enjoy seeing the scene finally get animated, the anime did leave a lot of the intense moments in this whole interaction. Like for example, when Chawashiro came to pick up up Ayanokoji, Ayanokoji noticed very quickly that Chabashiro was scared. It was almost like she was scared at the person who wanted to see Ayanokoji. Not only that, but as soon as they got into the room, he said that the principal was also scared just being in the same room as Professor Ayanokoji, showing us that despite him not even doing anything at all, he was still giving a lot of fear to the people in the room, which is something that I would love to see in the anime, but it is what it is. Alright, getting back into the revelation as to what Professor Ayanokoji did to the butler in order to get back at him for helping Ayanokoji escape. And the thing he did was make sure that the butler's son did not get a proper education. You see, the butler's son actually very intelligent as well. In fact, he wanted to get a higher education in order to be successful in life. However, because of what the butler did, Professor Ayanokoji made sure that this son of his did not get any good education, made sure that every school that he was participating in or got enrolled would get immediately expelled, showing us, which is something that Ayanokoji was very quick to point out, just how much power Professor Ayanokoji has. And that is the reason why a lot of people are feared by him, because it's very clear that he's capable of doing a lot of things, and it's very clear that with the amount of power he has, he could pretty much do whatever he wants, and there's nothing that anybody could do. There's not really a lot of people that could stop him unless they do also have either the same amount of power or even greater power than Professor Ayanokoji. And just to make this whole thing even worse, it's also revealed that when he made sure that the son of the butler did not get a proper education, the son had a very hard life. He had to struggle in order to just survive and just keep moving in life, something that the butler had huge regrets and felt guilty over, so he decided to do what he thought was best and burn himself alive. A very painful way to lose your life, and it's very clear this all happened just because Professor Ayanokoji wanted to get back at the butler, all because the butler helped Ayanokoji escape the White Room and go into the advanced nurturing high school. And despite revealing all this, he has no guilt for what he did, just showing us how he lacks any human emotions. He's not even hurt or even feeling guilty of this whole situation happening. In fact, he blames Ayanokoji for all this, saying that if he didn't escape the White Room, he wouldn't have done that in the beginning, which is I remember when I first read that, I was legit pissed because this guy is literally blaming his son for him doing what he did to his butler. Like, even before he revealed what he did to the butler, he was still garbage either way because of what he viewed Ayanokoji. He didn't view Ayanokoji as his son, but more like a product of the White Room that managed to succeed what he wanted, which is create this superhuman being. But then he does stuff like this where he blames Ayanokoji for the butler's death, even though Ayanokoji had nothing to do with it, and this was all Professor Ayanokoji's fault. If that doesn't classify as a garbage parent, then I don't know what does. But despite being a terrified individual, this was nothing that really Ayanokoji was scared of. In fact, he didn't really care that his father was there, because as he states during his interaction with him, he doesn't have to listen to him, because the only reason why Professor Ayanokoji is there in the school to begin with, because he wants Ayanokoji to drop out of the school and go back to the White Room. However, Ayanokoji doesn't want that because he still wants to see how the outside world is. But this is Professor Ayanokoji we're talking about, so it's very clear that he was not happy with this answer and demanded Ayanokoji to quit the school because he has to obey his orders. However, Ayanokoji countered back, saying how the only place where he would absolutely follow his orders was that if he was in the White Room. But since he's not in the White Room, he doesn't have to listen to what his father says. And of course, this leads up to Sakinagi's father, which is the chairman of the school, to come in and defend Ayanokoji. And it's at this point that Professor Ayanokoji realized that this was just a waste of time, and he decided to leave. But he did warn Ayanokoji that no matter what, he was going to make sure that Ayanokoji came back to the White Room. And he wasn't kidding, because he did show that he was willing to do whatever it takes to get Ayanokoji back into the White Room. The first thing he did was get Tokishiro to be the new chairman of the school and get Ayanokoji expelled. However, Ayanokoji managed to defeat him, and thus that plan failed. The other method was getting White Room students to pretend to be actual students of the school, but in reality, they were just there to get Ayanokoji expelled. But of course, if you have read second year, you would know that that did not end as they wanted to, and Ayanokoji managed to also defeat the White Room students. But despite all that, he's still a very terrifying individual, because even Ayanokoji himself has stated that he doesn't really know what his actual goal is. Sure, the first goal is to get him back into the White Room, but there's probably more to it than meets the eye. You see, Ayanokoji in the recent volume, in volume 8, second year, he stated how while it is possible that his father is still trying to get him expelled, he's thinking that there's probably other things he's planning on doing as well. We don't know what he's actually trying to do. We don't know what Professor Ayanokoji is going to do next. And I think that's what makes it really terrifying, because we don't know what's going to happen with this character. Is he going to just disappear in the shadows, or is he going to come with another plan of his to get rid of Ayanokoji? Or does he have another goal than just simply getting Ayanokoji out of the school just to be in the White Room? There's still a lot of mystery with Professor Ayanokoji, and that's really something that's really interesting about this character, because despite him not really having a lot of appearances, based on what we've got, he's a very mysterious person and he's very unpredictable. But as of right now, that's all we know about Professor Ayanokoji. A man who created a White Room just to create the superhuman being, and is feared by a lot of people because of the amount of power he has. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing what this character has to offer. It's going to be interesting how he progresses the story any further. But one thing that I am mainly curious about is that if the new volume that's about to be released, I believe towards the end of December, volume 0, I wonder if we're going to learn more about Professor Ayanokoji, because it's very clear that volume is going to be specifically talking about Ayanokoji's past, the White Room. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything more new to Professor Ayanokoji's character. Will there be more information about his past, or will we be seeing how he was in the White Room when Ayanokoji was still in there? But we'll just have to wait and see what happens next. And with that, that's pretty much the entire video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.